Welcome to The Big Idea. I'm your host, Faith Lark. Today, on The Big Idea, imagine a world where your deepest devotion becomes your greatest rebellion. Today, we explore the story of a princess whose love for the divine led her to defy a kingdom, facing threats, exile, and even a poisoned chalice, leaving you to question, what price are you willing to pay for your truth? The temple courtyard erupts in chaos. Mirabai spins in wild abandon, her voice piercing the evening air with devotional songs to Krishna. The crowd parts as she collapses, her body trembling with spiritual ecstasy. Some call it divine possession, others whisper darker theories. You wonder, what drives someone to dance so close to the edge of society's acceptance? What price must be paid for such raw devotion? In 16th century Rajasthan, being born a princess meant following a carefully scripted life. While other noble children played with jewels and dreamed of power, she sat transfixed by wandering mystics sharing tales of Krishna. You see, Mirabai wasn't just breaking tradition. She was threatening the very foundations of a society built on rigid hierarchies and predetermined roles. When she declared her spiritual marriage to Krishna, refusing the political alliance her family had arranged, she wasn't just rejecting a husband. She was rejecting an entire world order. Picture a young girl in the royal gardens, but not one you'd expect. Instead of practicing courtly graces, Mirabai dances barefoot in the dirt, singing to an invisible beloved. The palace guards exchange worried glances. The servants whisper behind closed doors, but Mirabai pays no attention. She has found something most spend lifetimes searching for, absolute certainty in her path. Her family tried everything to cure her of this divine obsession. First came gentle persuasion, then harsh restrictions, and finally threats. When they locked her in her chambers, she sang louder. When they forbade her from visiting temples, she turned her room into a shrine. The real trouble began when Mirabai started attracting followers. It was one thing for a princess to have eccentric spiritual beliefs. Her bhajans, devotional songs filled with raw emotion and startling imagery, spread through the kingdom like wildfire. In these songs, she spoke of breaking free from social constraints, of finding divine love beyond caste and status. Common people gathered in growing numbers to hear her sing. More dangerously, women began to question their own restricted roles. You might think this is just another story of religious devotion, but understand, when Mirabai sang in the temples, she wasn't just practicing her faith, she was staging a revolution. The temple elders were divided. Some saw divine inspiration in her ecstatic devotion, others saw a threat to established order. Local authorities demanded she contain her worship to private spaces. Her response? She sang even louder, declaring that true devotion knows no boundaries. If you're enjoying The Big Idea, please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code for our free 7-day email course, Mental Models Mastery. Learn to make better decisions and think like Einstein, Da Vinci, and Socrates. Now back to the episode. The breaking point came with a cup of poison. Mirabai's enemies, unable to silence her voice through threats or shame, resorted to darker methods. They presented her with a ceremonial drink, claiming it was blessed by priests. She knew it was poisoned. She drank it anyway. This moment crystallized everything about Mirabai's path. When faced with death, she chose complete surrender to her divine love. Her family, humiliated by her growing notoriety, forced her into exile. Picture this, a princess turned wandering mystic, carrying nothing but her unwavering devotion and the songs that poured from her heart. You might expect exile to break her spirit. Instead, it liberated her completely. Free from royal obligations, she traveled across India, singing in temples and marketplaces. Her poems spoke of a love so profound it transcended social boundaries, a devotion so pure it transformed suffering into joy. Simple words, but revolutionary in their implications. In a society where women were expected to devote themselves entirely to their husbands, Mirabai declared her soul belonged to Krishna alone. Her poetry wasn't just beautiful, it was dangerous. It suggested that spiritual enlightenment wasn't the exclusive domain of high-caste men. What makes Mirabai's story relevant to you today? It's not just about religious devotion or historical rebellion. Think about the spaces in your life where you've compromised your authentic voice. Where have you chosen safety over truth? Return now to that temple courtyard where our story began. Mirabai's collapse wasn't from weakness, but from the sheer intensity of divine connection. Today, her songs still echo through temples and homes across India. But the real power of her story lies not in the words she sang, but in the truth she lived. Here's your challenge: find your own version of Mirabai's devotion, not necessarily to a deity, but to your deepest truth. The world needs your unique voice as much as it needed Mirabai's, perhaps even more so today. Will you have the courage to let it ring out? Will you dare to dance your own divine dance, regardless of who might disapprove? The choice, as it was for Mirabai, is yours alone to make. On the next episode of The Big Idea, Mirabai's unwavering devotion shows us the intoxicating power of faith and the courage it takes to defy societal expectations. But what happens when the search for spiritual truth leads you down unexpected paths, perhaps even involving mind-altering experiences? This week, we continue exploring the intersection of poetry and spirituality by looking at a figure who traded the hallowed halls of Harvard for the dusty roads of India, all in pursuit of enlightenment. Prepare to meet a man who, like Mirabai, challenged convention and sought a deeper connection, ultimately leaving behind a legacy of radical self-discovery and the simple, yet profound, message to be here now. Trust me, you won't want to miss this incredible transformation. Please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code or follow the pinned link to get our free 7-day email course, Mental Models Mastery. 7 mental models used by humanity's greatest minds. Think clearer, decide faster, and spot opportunities everyone misses. Click the video that just popped up to watch the next one in this series. Or for episode summaries, behind-the-scenes info, and more, go to daily8.com/bi. Thanks for watching.